misled, misguided, are breaking their necks to take their money and spend it with the man. The man is becoming richer and richer, and you're becoming poorer and poorer. And then what happens? The community in which you live becomes a slum. It becomes a ghetto. The conditions become run down. And then you have the audacity to complain about poor housing in a rundown community. While you run it down yourself when you take it out. You and I are in a double trap, because not only do we lose by taking our money someplace else and spending it, when we try and spend it in our own community, we're trapped because we haven't had sense enough to set up stores and control the businesses of our community. The man who's controlling the stores in our community is a man who doesn't look like we do. He's a man who doesn't even live in the community. So you and I, even when we try and spend our money in the block where we live or the area where we live, we're spending it with a man who, when the sun goes down, takes that basket full of money in another part of the town. So we're trapped, double trapped, triple trapped. Anywhere we go, we find that we're trapped. And every kind of solution that someone comes up with is just another trap. But the political and economic philosophy of black nationalism, the economic philosophy of black nationalism shows our people the importance of setting up these little stores and developing them and expanding them into larger operations. Woolworth didn't start out big like they are today. They started out with a dime store and expanded and expanded and expanded until today they're all over the country and all over the world, and they're getting some of everybody's money. Now, this is what you and I in General Motors, the same way, didn't start out like it is. It started out just a little rat race type operation, and it expanded and expanded until today it's where it is right now. And you and I have to make a start. And the best place to start is right in the community where we live. But don't scare Negroes today with no badge or no white skin or no white sheet or no white anything else. The police the same way. They put their club upside your head and then turn around and accuse you of attacking them. Every case of police brutality against a Negro follows the same pattern. They attack you, bust you all upside your mouth, and then take you to court and charge you with assault. What kind of democracy is that? What kind of freedom is that? What kind of social or political system is it when a black man has no voice in court, has nothing on his side other than what the white man chooses to give him? My brothers and sisters, we have to put a stop to this. And it will never be stopped until we stop it ourselves. They attack the victim. And then the criminal who attacked the victim accuses the victim of attacking him. This is American justice. That's right. This is American democracy. And those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy. Right. Now, if I'm wrong, put me in jail. But if you can't prove that a democracy is not hypocrisy, then don't put your hands on me. I just told you a little while ago, these leaders,
all power to the people, all power to the people. Chairman Africa, New African Black Panther Party, and this is the first week of our political education course. I like everybody that's new here, welcome, welcome. I usually start promptly 7:30, so we're gonna get it shaking right away. Where we at here? What we got going on here? Welcome to the Bobby Hutton Political Education course. Each week, students will be assigned reading and videos to study and will convene once a week to discuss the material, interpret and break down the core concepts, questions and answers, and to prepare for next week's study materials. Remember that taking notes can be real beneficial, even audio ones, and don't be afraid to ask for help. We are all in this together. Yes, we are. That's why we're in the political education class. There's no point in doing anything and organizing if we don't know why we're here. I mean, we all doing this together. We all in a team together. So there's nothing like, there's no question that's dumb. If you have a question, if you want to say something, always ask. Each week, you are encouraged to bring the following: quotes from the material, questions you have, your interpretation of the material, core concept, revolutionary spirit. The first duty of a revolutionary is to be educated. To be a Panther, we must understand our history, our political line, strategies to overthrow our oppressors. Upon completion of the political education program, graduates will become members of the UPM, receive recognition, and be encouraged to begin organizing in their local communities. Comrades, our studies this week will focus on Pantherism, unitary conduct, and the enemy. This is a quote from George Jackson. If you're new here, if this is your first time, you don't know who George Jackson is, yo, I'm telling you now, what's the date? Today's Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. By Monday, you should try to get the book Blood in My Eyes by George Jackson. I'm not even going to tell you about this cat, but after you start digging into him, trying to find out about who he is, you're going to see how it really was. But this is a quote from him. Settle your quarrels. Come together. Understand the reality of our situation. Understand that fascism is already here. You know how they've been talking about fascism is coming. This was in the 70s when he wrote this. I think 60s, late 60s. But anyway, you know how they're saying fascism, like Trump is bringing fascism? Yo, he's telling you in the 60s that fascism is already here. That people are already dying who could be saved. People are already dying that could be saved. Yo, this morning I saw on social media somebody had froze to death outside. We could have saved that person. There's no need for anybody to be outside freezing. That generations to be saved, that generations more will die or live poor butchered half lives if you fail to act. Do what must be done. Discover your humanity and love in revolution. Pass on the torch. Join us. Give up your life for the people. Doing this work, you're really giving up your life for what you believe in. You're giving up your life for the people. That's why we're here. Yo, you don't get paid. You don't get rich. But if we do this together, if we do this how it's supposed to be done, yo, we're all going to have fulfilled lives. We're never going to be homeless. You're never going to be alone. You're never going to be destitute, because together it's impossible for anybody to stop us. And that's not me just saying it to be saying it. This ain't no rah, rah, rah. But how you going to feel if we all together? If we all pulling our resources together, working together, getting businesses together, sustaining ourselves together, how are you going to fail? Right now, you're going through the world with whatever you got, whatever protection you got, whoever you got helping you, standing alongside of you. Yo, just imagine having a whole party behind you. How are you going to fail? So we're not doing this to get rich, but in helping the people and being one with the people, you have no choice to gain power. Not just being rich, but power. Who will save us? We will save ourselves. To save ourselves requires getting together by searching out those elements displaying in actual practice revolutionary proletarian consciousness. Now, let me stop there. He said, to save ourselves requires getting together by searching out those elements, like people out there that believe the same thing we believe, displaying, like they got to show it in actual practice, like they actually got to be doing it. Revolutionary proletarian consciousness. In other words, how do I I'm trying to see how to break down revolutionary proletarian consciousness. Proletarian is us, the people at the bottom, people working day to day trying to survive out here. That's what the proletarian is. And revolutionary is it's a whole new way of doing things, a whole new way of life. I mean, a whole new way of surviving, of existing. That's what revolution means. Change. It's not the same. It is not like going to go vote. Like, that's not changing nothing. Revolutionary proletarian consciousness. So not only that they know that they're proletarian, but they're conscious, like they're conscious of it. I mean, so let me go back and read it again. Elements displaying in actual practice revolutionary proletarian consciousness, not celebrities, not artists, not academics, not the wealthy, not the rich, none of those people. Us. This is what we're fighting for. Yo, we have never had power. Oh, look at the camera. I done hit the table, made the camera go down. I got it. I think I'm good. Hey, yo, the people have never had power. Never in the history of the world. Not in Africa, nowhere. Even when you go back to Africa, in those societies, they had kings, queens. Yo, those with the power, those at the top, the elites, always control the society, no matter where you have been in the history of the world. That's why pantheism is different. Pantheism is saying putting power in the hands of the people. I mean, so like, if you know anybody that say the people ever had power, bring them. Let them
What?
come.
Hold on. I got something to say right now.
Go ahead, say so.
This love, bro.
All power to the people, love. What's up?
So you saying that before slavery, white people were still controlling shit? I don't.
No. Like before, like let's say before slavery, before they took black people from Africa, you had other elites. You had
we were sold.
Huh?
We were sold. You know, they sold us to the white people.
I could dig, but like, all right. So check it, right? So like, where you at? You in North, love?
Yeah, this scrap. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
So you in North, right? So right now, do you have the ability to sell anybody?
Of course not. Of course
no. Wait. We're walking this down. So who has the ability in North to be able to sell our homes, to sell people?
Wait, to sell what?
To sell our homes. To sell our homes.
If I wanted to be a real estate agent, I could be a real estate agent.
No. I'm not talking about doing it legitly. I'm talking about to sell, to take our stuff.
The freedom to just do it without having to go through
nobody. Who is that? Who are those people?
But look, that's a part of my question, because my whole question was, are you saying, because I do believe that we was in control first. We are the first people that lived on this planet, you know, like us Africans. Africans, the motherland for a reason, you feel me?
Now
I
don't
think that they controlled it before slavery. That's a new perspective for me.
No. Let's pause it right there. No, yo, what we doing here? We have the political education class. Yo, these are great questions and great conversations to have. You feel me? All right. So when we were in Africa, what I was trying to say is, when you say they sold us, yo, Africans didn't sell other Africans. The kings, the queens, the people that were in power, that control the villages, that control the people.
Yeah, tribal. We very tribal.
No, but remember, who are the people I'm talking about? The people in power. Because the history of the world.
So who was in power before slavery? It was you saying it was white people in power?
No, we had black people. We had black people in power. It was black in Africa. It was black people that were the kings and queens. Yeah, in Africa, we were ruled by other Africans. Like that's how it worked. But it was still a class system. You had the kings, you had all these people, then you had the people at the bottom that did all the work, just like today.
And if I'm not mistaken, they believed that if you was born a peasant back then, if you was born a peasant, you was a part of that peasant. There was no rising to better, like how we try to perceive it now.
By and large,
if we just get a lot of money, then we're on a different level, and all classism and everything like that.
Yeah, it's the same thing. No, I mean, it's the same thing. So back then, before even the white man came over there to do whatever they did, yo, they already had a class system over there. Yeah, they had a class system. And what I'm saying is us, you and I, the people at the bottom, because like we wasn't born with silver spoons. We wasn't born king and queen. We never had power. They always go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, that's true probably to the majority, but there is some of us who are descendants of those kings and queens. You know, them kings and queens had children of royalty. That's the thing now, that everybody think that we was all. I don't like that. This is why I can understand where you're coming from, because everybody try to make it look like now that when they say kings and queens, we was all kings and queens. We wasn't all kings and queens. There was still kings, queens. You know, there was peasants, and as we just spoke about, you feel me? It wasn't just all of us was all royalty.
Nah, everybody was not royalty.
We controlled what is being controlled to us by right now. We was the government. We sat by and we was more spiritual back then. We understood the earth. We got a lot of lost knowledge that they took from us was probably the greatest thing that let them to keep doing what they did to get to this point, was them taking our knowledge from ourselves. That's what caused that confusion. You feel me?
Nah, you're right. Nah, you're 100% correct. I mean, word up. But who have I'm gonna carry on. Who have shown but look, let me stop for a second. Yo, everybody that's here. I mean, today's the first day. It's gonna grow. More and more people gonna come in. Yo, I want you to get people to understand. I want them to have conversations like this. We need to have conversations like this when we're talking about this, not me just reading through slides. All power to the people. But remain uncommitted, though not due to moral flaws that contradict revolutionary Panther morality. Pantherism is the key to unity. All right, this video, right? Most of us don't understand what institutions are, the building blocks of society, how you maintain a society. Because as Panthers, we believe our duty is to build institutions, our own institutions, not to allow their institutions. What do I mean by their institutions? Their schools, to educate our children. So if we want to educate our children, we want to liberate ourselves, we must build our own schools. We can pull our resources together and build our own schools. That's the purpose of being here. This video is going to explain what institutions are.
Institutions are essential parts of any society. Think about it. Police stations, schools, hospitals, businesses like Walmart and Trader Joe's are all core parts of a community. In a sense, they impose structure on how individuals behave. For example, if all the laws that exist in our community disappeared, would I still have a normal day? Probably not. People would be speeding down the street, looting my neighborhood coffee shop, and perhaps a stranger would be sleeping on my living room couch. All the things that I'm used to would be completely disrupted. Maybe a more reasonable example is, let's say all the schools had a new rule of no classes on Fridays. Then parents would have to figure out childcare for that day. Institutions and their rules definitively guide what we do. You may be thinking that you don't have a kid and maybe you don't need childcare services. But in general, individuals are reliant on the institutions in their community. But is the reverse true? Do institutions need individuals? In general, they need lots of folks to contribute to allow them to function, but they don't typically need any one random individual. So there's a bit of an imbalance between institutions and individuals, if that makes sense. While they need individuals and are created by groups of individuals, they will continue even after the individual is gone. The concept of institution.
So when you hear them say institutional memory, when they hear them say institutional memory, that's what they're talking about. That's what the philosophers, the writers, whoever book you're reading, when they say we don't have institutional memory. Yo, as a people, every single person doesn't know what happened in the 60s, what we went through, don't know what happened through the slave trade, don't understand what happened in Africa before we became slaves, we don't understand none of this because we have no institutions that's educating us and teaching us to remember these things. That's what these schools are here for. Everybody here know who freed the slave, who they say freed the slaves. If I ask that question, if I walk outside right now and I'm like, yo, who freed the slaves? Even though none of these Negroes or black folks or Spanish people, anybody out here was around 200 years ago, they're going to tell you Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. Because since they've been going to school since kindergarten, preschool, they've been brainwashing them, telling them Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. So they know this. Go ahead.
No, I was just I had to agree to that.
Okay. Yeah. So if we want all power to the people, if we want to change that dynamic, we have to build our own institutions. I mean, like, to me, that's an easy thing to understand. I mean, I'm gonna play the video.
It may seem like a daunting idea, but try thinking of them as just a form fulfilling a need. Institutions meet the needs of society by filling expected roles and behaviors. For example, in order for a society to continue, it needs people year after year after year. The family institution makes sure that there will be people to carry on the next generation.
Let me pause it there again. Because like when we talk about when people talk about the church, the family, they talk about all these ideas that the church instilled in people. Because you got to understand, the church was the first means of socialization that they used on these shores to socialize people, to make them behave and think the way they wanted to think. So when you think about church and they say like, why they against gay marriage? Because they, like, for the capitalists, for them to be able to stay alive, for them to be able to profit, they needed to maintain the father and the mother, that whole family system, to produce workers generation after generation after generation. And that's basically what the church was here to do, to continue having people reproduce generation after generation after generation, so those that own the corporation, that own everything, can continue to use that workforce. So that's why they, by and large, against like gay marriage, LGBTQ, all these whatever ideas. And even when you get in America, like when you marry, the way they do the tax system, I mean, it rewards people that are married, that are a couple, that have children. All of that is for a reason. It is not, it didn't just happen organically. These are things that are strategically put in the community to control the population.
No, society needs a way to keep people healthy. So you have the medical institution. And society even needs a way to encourage innovation and progress. So you have universities. There are two views of institutions, a conservative view and a progressive view. The conservative view sees institutions as being natural, positive byproducts of human nature.
In sociology, they call it conflict theory, right? Where they say progressive. That'll be conflict theory. And over here will be status quo. This is the status quo right here. What those in power want you to believe. Conservative, to conserve what already is. That's what that basically is. But in sociology, because I have a degree in sociology. In sociology, the study of how societies are formed and maintained. So in sociology, the way that we think as pastors will be called conflict theory, which is what they call progressive. And over here, conservative, that's the status quo, the people in power, like your Republicans, well, Democrats too now.
For example, the institution of hospitals forms naturally from the activities of humans and naturally benefits.
My bad. I see. Let me bring it back a little bit because I want you to hear what they're saying about the conservative.
Naturally from the activities of humans. For example, the institution of hospitals forms naturally from the activities of humans.
It's not far back enough. My bad, y'all.
There are two views of institutions, a conservative view and a progressive view. The conservative view sees institutions as being natural, positive byproducts of human nature. For example, the institution of hospitals forms naturally from the activities of humans and naturally benefits them.
So what they're saying is all these institutions we have, like the banks, like the hospitals, everything, all the schools, all these institutions just pop up. They just form naturally. The people just produce these institutions. They're not governed by politicians. They're not governed by people that's trying to oppress the masses of the people. These institutions just popped up. That's what the conservatives believe in their theory, their philosophy.
The progressive view takes the standpoint that institutions are artificial creations that need to be redesigned if they are to be helpful to humanity. So perhaps you can see businesses as potentially harming society if they aren't reined in.
Now you hear that? You hear the conflict? You hear the progressive side? These institutions are made by men. If we don't control them, if we don't rein them in, they're going to abuse people. Now, like to me, if I'm sitting there and you asking me, which one of these people is telling the truth? I know the banks didn't just pop up out of nowhere. I understand that, and I'm not going with that. I'm going with the other side, the progressive side, where it's saying these institutions was created by men, and we need to design them or make them help people, not exploit them. So I'll be going with the progressive side.
Now, unfortunately, institution is one of those words that has a very different meaning to a sociologist than it does to the average person. We average people might think of just a business or a corporation when we hear the word institution. A sociologist, on the other hand,
Think about
social structures when they hear the word institution. They think of governments, families, hospitals, schools, the legal system, religion, as well as businesses. Each of those parts of society continues on without regard to any individual. Governments continue even after the people within them turn over. Families continue from one generation to the next. Laws continue on after the people who wrote them are long dead and buried. Hospitals, schools, businesses all continue past the time span of any individual and are not dependent on any one individual either.
You hear that? They're not depending on any one individual. But I'm going to tell you this, though. I think they said it in the beginning. Without the people, these institutions fail to exist. If the people, like these people that you see right here on the screen, these people that you see here on the screen, let me see where you had all them people up there. They had all them people. It was a whole bunch of people up there. Where is it at? Where is it at? Right here. right here. Yo, without all these people here, these institutions are done. If these people organize themselves and they say we're not going to these institutions, yo, we're not going to the police no more. Yo, we're not going to their schools no more. Yo, we're not going to their hospitals no more. We're not going to their universities no more. And wherever locality that you're in, whatever town that you're in, if the people are organized and they say we're not going to West Side High School, we're not going to University High School, because I'm in North. We're not going to Weekway, we're not going to Shabazz. You know what we're going to do? We're going to build our own high schools. Yo, these schools are dead. Those people that work there can't get paid no more because there's nobody there. Our children, because when they say all power to the people, that's what they mean. The power is in the people. When the people understand we no longer need to go to these institutions no more, they will die. You don't need to go to the police station to shoot it up, to go try to take anybody, drag people out, to go to war with them. You just stop calling them.
I believe in that. I believe in that wholeheartedly. I got a question though.
Go ahead.
Right?
Go ahead.
So you know that there's like there's at least 5. I'm gonna say at least because I'm gonna say it's 5 to 10 that I saw personally. There's like 5 to like 8 movements that people are trying to boycott right now. Walmart, Target, all the major corporations right now, they're trying to boycott that during these next, before summer even come, before these next couple, you know, feel me? They got dates put, which I don't fully agree with how their strategy and shit, but I understand where they trying to go. But you know, but they just have some locations that's some I plan on going. I'm definitely going to some of them.
All right, so check this out, right? So let's say this one right here, this box over here with the white. Let's say this is Target over here, right? Let's say this other box over here, this is Costco, right? White people, billionaires, imperialists, own Costco. White people, black people, Spanish people, whatever, it doesn't matter. Billionaires, millionaires own Target. So if you boycott Target and you tell everybody to go to Costco.
No, we boycotting Costco too.
Yeah,
Costco and Target
but I'm
boycotted
talking about
at the same time. Everything. You let everything go for a day. Rent, electricity, everything. You let everything go for 2, 3 days, even a week. And they will lose something. And one day they're gonna lose at least $1 billion. Yes. One day, but you gotta let it go for every industry. So a good week, 7 days, that's gonna do the job. I think that we can at least get to the point to where we can negotiate. We gotta deprive them of their shit. Them niggas they had too much power for too long, bro. They had so much power, they going crazy off of it. There's nothing we can say to them. We have to do.
All power to the people. But where we're at as Panthers.
I'll mute myself.
No. You come back. What you mean you gonna mute yourself? We talking, we learning. Hey, yo, but look, what we talking about, right? Like these people, these imperialists that we're talking about, we've been fighting them for hundreds of years. These are not new. Like you said earlier, these are the children of those people from generations prior. There's no negotiating with them. As Panthers, we don't negotiate with imperialists. Yo, at the time to negotiate with these people have come and gone. After Malcolm died, that's when the Black Panther Party was formed. And after when the Black Panther Party was formed after they killed Malcolm, yo, the Panthers said, yo, this was the last straw. We have no reason to negotiate with these people. This was in the 70s, in the late 60s. Yo, we're 2025. They haven't done anything since then to now to show there's any reason to negotiate with them. But be that as it may, yo, why stop going for a month? Why stop going for 7 days? As Panthers, we believe our only option is to build our own institutions. Let them keep their shit. Now, because I'm jumping the gun, because later on in the classes, you get to find out, like, after we build our institutions, they're going to come and try to start a war with us because they can no longer exploit our labor. So they cannot survive with that kind of arrangement. So they will come, it's always a war. They're going to come and try to take over, and we must defend ourselves. But as Panthers, where we at, yo, there's no need to go to Target no more. If you and all of us in the Panther Party, if we build our own Target, our own department store. Why do we ever need to go back to Target? You did?
Yeah, that's the. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
All power to the people. By consciously selecting the most advanced elements from among the black masses for membership in the NABPPPC, the vanguard party of New African and African Revolution, and a friend to all oppressed people, we are building a cadre of leadership capable of marshaling its energies and talents to move the party forward, even under tremendous pressure from rightist repression. Let me go back again. By consciously selecting the most advanced. So we have this class. This class is 13 weeks. Hey, yo, bro, we are making sure the people that we bring in understand what we're doing here. Yo, everybody can be a part of what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody, like, we can't trust everybody. And everybody is not mentally and intellectually there to be able to do what we're doing. I mean, so like we're not even playing games with this. Yo,
history shows us that, and you know what's one thing that made me actually come into this, because then what made me actually trust, like I have trust in investing into it. Like I trust y'all, bro. I don't even know everybody right now, but I trust y'all, bro, for the simple fact that I see when you told me off rip, when you told me, yo, do your research on the Black Panthers, make sure you get a good understanding before I would even let you around, you know?
Yeah,
that alone lets you know somebody you taking it serious. I'm at the Spires. I'm a security guard at the Spires. So I see you come. I just saw when the fruit dropped on what was it, Saturday?
Yeah.
I think it was Saturday. The fruit dropped right there. I saw it. You feel me? Like I respected that,
saw
bro.
us bring the
I was
food
wondering
too?
where that was coming from. That's
Yo,
what's
you
up.
saw us bring the food?
Yes, bro. The cameras is right there, bright and day. You feel me? I do my thing, but you feel me? This is my security start, but. You know, because a lot of people don't want to work at the Spires, so
Nah, we good. But you good though, man. You good. You already know you good. But right here, when he said, even under tremendous pressure from rightist repression. Hey, yo, when you doing this kind of work, when you out there like helping people, trying to put people in their homes, it's people on the other side that's kicking them out their homes. There are people over there making it impossible for them to buy food at the groceries, to buy gas, because they're profiting from it. Yo, you make enemies with these people. This is not an easy life. I mean, you make enemies with this, even though you're not trying to make enemies. Yo, I see somebody outside homeless. Yo, I'm trying to help them find somewhere to stay. I'm not trying to pick a fight with nobody. But the people that are responsible, that are supposed to protect that person, not let them be outside, they're gonna get upset with me. But it is what it is. I don't care.
And you know what's crazy? Because we always, at the end of the day, I got faith in that. Like me, from just listening from my first session, me pulling up was last Sunday, when we had that, what's the name, when you said that it was gonna be the first. I know I wanted to catch this session. I ain't gonna front, bro. I'm married. I'm 20, bro. I'm 27. I've been married for like 6 years, bro. I had my daughter at 20. I was married by the next year. You feel me? I never played with her. That's why I feel like this is the perfect thing that I'm doing, because it's always what I always did since I was 15, 14, 13. I've always been looking at this is something I always want to indulge in, but something always held me off. You feel me? And it's like, this is just making sense, bro.
You home now, baby. Word up. You home now. National liberation struggle fundamentally conflicts with rightist policy. Any vanguard party seeking to lead the people in progressive, aggressive struggle must pre-rearrange training for cadre in the basic of protracted struggle in a defensive and offensive class struggle. Okay, so anybody that want to be in this struggle, like let's say like me myself, I am the chairman of the party. Yo, it's saying right there that I have to prepare the people, like the people that are in the party, that are under me, for them to be ready to struggle for a minute, for a while. Because like we carrying the baton now. Yo, Malcolm X and them did it in their generation. They left the information. Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale, George Jackson. You see, they passed the baton on. Now we got that baton. So what is our duty with that baton? Our duty is to build institutions instead of just talking, writing books, keep talking, going on interviews.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we gotta. Yeah, we gotta.
That work. It's the work we do. And you know how I know? Like, this is something that let me know that you was for real, because It's like when you do it, I seen you do the work. I've been working at the Spice for over a year, bro. I've been seeing you way before anything that had to, before I was working with House, before House put me on. This is such and such, this Africa, that's who Africa is, da 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 da. Before we did all of that shit, bro, I already paid attention. You feel me? This was already up my alley. I'm from New York. You feel me? I'm from Brookdale Hospital. You feel me? I'm from Brownsville, literally. You feel me? I was born in East New York. I'm from Brownsville. I'm from Brooklyn. So, but that shit, bro, that shit resonate with me so much because I don't got nobody I could go back to Brooklyn or New York to that talks on this level. Nobody, bro. Nobody. I had to leave New York, come to Jersey, get myself situated, adapt to Jersey, and then come in, be able to have this conversation with you right now.
All power to the people. That's what's up, man.
Yes, sir.
That is why we ask all future party members to serve a minimum period of time in the United Panther Movement, which is a mass-based organization that bring in all kinds of brothers and sisters interested in serving the oppressed peoples and prepares them for revolution. We want to throw the net as wide as possible in order to select from the best of the best. Rethink old definitions. We have.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
How do you feel about do you have a daughter?
Yes, I do.
Okay, how old is she?
21.
Oh shit! I got a daughter. My daughter's 6, so I'm over here. I'm scrambling in the mind. But how would you? Was your daughter ever able to do lip gloss, nails, and all of that shit like that at 6 years old? Let me ask you that question.
That's a conversation we're gonna have to talk about offline. You feel me?
Okay, that's personal. That's personal.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not that it's personal, but like we gotta get through this Panther stuff because people don't want to be here all night. You feel me?
I agree with it.
But listen though, check this out.
Sir.
Hey yo,
do your thing, bro.
Hey,
I'm gonna mute myself.
No, but listen. But while you're muting yourself, listen to this though. Yo, whatever time during the day you want to talk. Hey, yo, I got 2 kids. We already been through this whole process. Yo, whatever time you want to talk, hey, yo, hit my phone, yo. Like we here to talk, not just me. Everybody that's in the party. We got other people here. I mean, that's in the party that got children. Like that's what we here for. I mean, but be that as it may, rethinking old definitions. We have the task of redefining in actual social practice the very words brother and sister. The bourgeois, the rich. The bourgeois definition given to us by our parents must be erased from our consciousness. Bourgeois education and long uses define brother and sister as being based on biology alone. For the purpose of this discouraging unitary social practice by the exploited slaves, sharecroppers, and wage workers against the various ruling class forces. The primary determinant of brother and sister springs out of sociological and environmental processes we call struggle. So they say here, yo, when we do this work, yo, how we call you brother and sister is through a process that we're both working towards to get somewhere. You don't just call anybody just brother, just whatever, just because like they're in your family. Yo, I know everybody here heard it before. Like they be like, blood is thicker than water. What was the saying? What's the saying over there? But what? Hold on, wait. But you need water to live, or something like that. I mean, but be that as it may, yo, you may be the same blood, but they hate you. Your own family, they despise you. I mean, like they don't treat you like a brother. They don't treat you like a sister. And it could be somebody that you meet on the streets, a stranger that will be ready to give you the shirt on their back. Yo, that's your brother. That's what you have trust in. You don't have trust in somebody just because they're your blood sibling, whatever, just because they're your blood. Yo, it got to be done through evidence. And that's what they're trying to say right here. Take, for example, a group of people who have ideology, values, culture, history, economic oppression, and colonialism in common. We all effed up. We suffering. And we got all of that in common. Based on this commonality, they organized themselves into a national liberation party demanding freedom. This party or formation will experience the ebbs, the ebbs like up and down, and flow of struggle, including suffering and joy. And out of the struggle for freedom will be forged new, higher relations that will be emulated by other oppressed groups who will also become their brothers and sisters. Right now in Palestine, they got people out there in Palestine, Israel dropping bombs on them. Yo, you know what fascinates me, yo? Yo, these people like build tunnels under the ground because they understand these imperialists or sociopath savages. You can't cut no deal with them. You can't make a deal with them because they're always going to go back on their deal. So they were brilliant enough to build homes, to be able to survive underground. And we should do that. Why are we not learning here, right here under the system? Where every day you look on the TV, on social media, they shooting people in the back, shooting them in the face, throwing. Yo, the woman had the water. They told her to go get the water off the stove. She went to go get the water off the stove. She got shot in the face. Yo, if we're going through all of these things, yo, why haven't our leaders started to put plans together for us to survive? Because these are not leaders. And what I have learned from Palestine, from watching all the way in Newark, New Jersey, is real leaders have a contingency plan for their people. Because they know the enemy is coming. We are always at war. Our leaders have no contingency plan. You know what they tell us? They'll go vote. Go out there and go march. Put your sneakers on and go walk up and down begging these people to write laws to help you. When they know that's not how this works. But the reason why they go out and tell our people to do it, because they get paid. They get paid to do that. They pay them to mislead us. This is the period where the very term brother and sister ring from every hall, institution, street corner, and house of the newly awakened nation and mean much more than the biological relationship of siblings. Yo, when we all suffering together, like if you're in Palestine right now, they're dropping those bombs on you. Yo, the person that you're looking at next to you, they may not be your kin. But if both of y'all are able to survive, you're able to get to them tunnels, build them tunnels to survive, yo, that's your brother. And that brother, that family was forged in the fire of struggle. It's going to be impossible to break that bond. If I don't consider you my brother or sister, who are you to me? If we are of the oppressed class, we ought to be brothers and sisters in spirit and in comrades in the struggle of liberation. So like everywhere you look, when they're about to shoot somebody, when they're stomping somebody out, when they're dragging somebody, everybody just looking, just watching. You think if that's my comrade, if that's somebody in my organization and the police come over there to grab them, like I'm gonna just stand there looking, recorded, you're gonna have to take me too. That is what it means to be a comrade. You don't just stand there. Remember when you was little and your parents sent you to school and they said if something happened to your brother, you better be down there fighting with your brother? This is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about. Panther love is the glue, is the glue here. We have to exercise Panther love. We can't state this fundamental principle more clearly than Che Guevara when he said, what he said, what Che said about Panther love, Che Guevara. At the risk of seeming ridiculous, let me say that the true revolutionary is guided by a great feeling of love. If we didn't love the people, we wouldn't come out there in the snow, in the cold. Yo, New Year's Eve, or was it Christmas Eve? Yo, it was snowing outside. We had a delivery come in. Yo, we went out there in the snow. We put that delivery together and to go deliver it to people's homes. Yo, we didn't do that because somebody's gonna pay us. Yo, we understand as an organization there are people out there hungry even on Christmas Eve. And if you love the people that much, you will go out there with a smile on your face to take the food to them. That's what we're about. We love the people that much. It is impossible to think of a genuine revolutionary lacking this quality. Ernesto Che Guevara. You know how Che Guevara died? Look at Che Guevara. You see him? I think Che from Argentina. But look at him. He came from a rich family. I mean, he was a doctor. He gave all of that up and he died. I think he died in South America trying to free. What country was he trying to free? I forgot. But he died over there trying to free some a country over there that was
Bolivia.
You say where?
Bolivia.
He died in Bolivia. Thank you, Comrade Rodrigo. He died in Bolivia over there in the hills, in the jungles, out there trying to save those people, and they betrayed him. What? Yo, I'm talking about, when they talk about class suicide, he committed class suicide. He was a doctor. He didn't need to be no revolutionary. And this is after he had won. Yo, they defeated America, bruh. Him and Castro, they defeated America at the Bay of Pigs. When you hear about JFK, all this stuff, they defeated them. They took that little island and they defeated the most powerful country at that time. That's love. That's love, to sacrifice all of that, to sacrifice being rich, having money, because his family had money. To sacrifice all of that for the people. And even after you won, he's still going to Africa. He's going to all these different places to liberate them. Yo, this is the people I call heroes, bro. LeBron ain't my hero. Celebrities are not my hero. Entertainers are not my heroes. Revolutionaries are my heroes. These are the people I read. These are the people I look up to. The people I want to be like. I want to be like Che. When you see me out there doing stuff for the community, I want to be like Che Guevara. And Che mean friend. That's what I tell my son. These are the people that I tell my son, my daughters to try to be like in life. I get all emotional thinking about people like this. It is the abiding sentiment we must uphold with one another. Love should motivate and love should bond us together. Let love heal us and strengthen us. Richard Wolff, I'm about to go into this video about Richard Wolff, and he's going to explain about capitalism real quick. But let me tell you who Richard Wolff is. Richard Wolff is an American Marxian economist. That's Marxism. Marxian economist known for his work on economic methodology and class analysis. He's a professor emeritus of economics at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst, and a visiting professor in the graduate program in international affairs of the New School. Yale University, 1966 to 67, Stanford University, 1964, Harvard University. Host on WBAI and several other platforms. You know, like the people that we bring here to for you to listen to, these are the people that society have deemed are okay to listen to. These are not radicals. He's not a radical. But when you listen to what he's saying the same thing we're saying.
In Marx's way of thinking, capitalism is easily represented in the following way of understanding what the process of production is. And because Marx is interested in human beings, and Marx is interested in how people relate to one another, because that's what he's concerned with, he's going to analyze what happens in production in terms of labor, of this activity people give themselves to when they go to work, and how they relate to one another as they go about transforming nature into chairs and software programs and haircuts and everything else. Okay? So we're going to start this way. Every act of production makes use of some kinds of tools, equipment, raw material, whatever. For example, let's use a chair as an example. If you're going to make a chair, you need some wood and some glue and maybe some nails and a hammer, and you get the idea. And all of those things that are used in production were made by human beings, labor, that's now available for us to use to make more things. Somebody did work a while ago to make the hammer, which I'm going to now use to make the chair. Somebody a while ago put together whatever needed to make the glue that I use and to cut the trees into the lumber that I use. And so we're going to use a simple EL, embodied labor. Every production makes use of embodied labor, labor that's embodied in some product that was done earlier that's now an input to what we're doing now. Basically, simple idea. Here comes another simple idea. With this embodied labor, labor embodied in all the tools, equipment, and raw material, production involves the addition of living labor, the worker, you, him, her, the people working. So we're going to call that living labor. Embodied labor plus living labor gives you the total labor in whatever we produce in an economy. It's real simple. Okay? You can say it in other words. There's the value of all the stuff we use up when we produce, tools, equipment, and raw materials. And then there's the value added by the worker who uses those pieces of equipment to transform the raw material into the final. So this is nails, glue, lumber. This is the chair maker's effort. And the outcome is the chair. Okay, this is very simple. What is capitalism about? By some process, which we can talk about later, the embodied labor, the work done by working people in the past, becomes the private property of a few people. You know their names, they're called employers. They didn't make this stuff. Absolutely not. Somebody else did. Workers. But those workers didn't get to keep what they produced. They lost what they produced, and it became the property of somebody else. And that capitalist brings to the production process whatever it is he owns. Let's just say, just to make it simple, that it's worth 100. It doesn't matter what it is, just 100 of anything. So we know we're using up in making chairs 100 worth of hammers, nails, glue, lumber, all of that. And now the worker adds value to what he or she produces by transforming the lumber, nails, and glue into a new finished thing called a chair or a sofa or any other piece of output. Okay, then let's, just to make it real simple, say it's another 100. And so the final chair is worth 200. I told you this would be easy. 100 plus 100 equals 200. Economists think this is an enormous achievement here, and most of you probably don't. The arithmetic is simple. Okay? Now let's follow the logic as Marx did. This is what a capitalist does. He brings 100 of what he's come to acquire.
And let me pause it here. Because when you hear about Marxism and they talk about Karl Marx, most people don't understand what Marxism is. What he's explaining to you is what Karl Marx wrote his books and his studies about. We, the people, should keep the labor, the profit from our labor. It shouldn't go to nobody else. You see, that's why capitalists hate them. Because capitalists want to keep the profit of what the people do. That's what communism, Marxism is. It's speaking about the economics process, how it works, who keeps what, and who don't get what. That's what Marxism is about. So whatever you hear them trying to say is about this, is about that, Marxism is explaining this concept that is putting up here, and he's going to go into a little bit deeper.
Somehow, we don't know how. And by the way, we never asked the capitalist quite how he got it, do we? It's really only, do you got it or do you not have it? And if you have it, you can be the employer. And if you don't, you can't. The fact that the employer who has it didn't produce it is a nagging problem we prefer not to ask. But we'll come back to it. And you know you can't be an employer because you don't have it. You didn't get it. Somebody else did. So the capitalist brings his 100, but he uses that up. That's the tools and equipment used up. So that 100 shows up in the chair as half of the 200 that chair is worth. And we know that the chair is worth 200 because in addition to the 100 of stuff used up, there was 100 more value added by the worker who worked to make the chair that's worth 200. Now, says Marx, and you're going to say it with me because you're going to understand this. Now Marx says, let's see. For the capitalist, he wants to get back what he laid out, the 100. He gave 100 to the production process. So when he sells the chair at 200, he's going to take 100 of it to replace the tools and equipment and raw materials used up in producing the chair. That's how he can keep on being a chair capitalist. That's how he can keep production going. He has to replace the tools, equipment, and raw materials he used up, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. I don't have the time to be Socratic because we don't have enough time. Okay, let's see. So out of the 200 worth of chair, you need to take 100 to replace what you used up. That leaves you with 100 after you sell the chair. What are you going to do with the 100? You could, here we go now, because this is the crucial part. You could take the other 100 and you could give it to the worker. Because after all, it was the worker whose labor added the 100 of value to this stuff to make the 200. You could, couldn't you? And the logic would be, gee, the worker added the value, he or she, here we go, folks, should get it. Because he gave it.
And that's
He
Marxism.
created it. He made it happen. He should get it.
Marxism says we shouldn't give them shit. This employers, Marxism said we don't need them. Get them out the way, and the people right here organize, and they put that $100 that they got towards buying the new tools to create a new chair. You don't need no billionaire, millionaire, nobody owning nothing. We do all the work, we keep all the profit. That's the difference between capitalism and Marxism. And of course, you know capitalism is not going to agree with that, because that means we don't need you no more, capitalist.
Do you think that happens in capitalism? No, you don't, do you? We don't give the worker the value added. Ever in capitalism. It's not how it works. You all know that. But I'm putting it kind of right up front and bold for you to deal with. What is it that capitalists do? They divide that 100 into two parts. One part is what we pay the worker. I'll be generous and say 50.
Generous.
Now you get it. If you made a chair of 200 and you used 100 to replace the tools, equipment, and raw materials you used up, and you used another 50 to pay the workers, that leaves what?
50.
50. Good. Higher math of economics.
I'm a genius. No, but what he's talking about right here, this is the root of everything. Because in reality, we don't get 50. We get like 10. We get like 5%. The people, the workers, get like 5%. And that 1%, the ones that control everything, they get everything else. They get like 95. That's like in actual reality how it works. I mean, that's why people catching hell out here. That's why people can't afford eggs, can't afford to eat, can't afford to survive, because it's not even distributed like this.
50. And Marx called this the surplus. It's what the capitalist has left over after he pays out to himself the 100 worth of tools, equipment, and raw materials he contributed that got used up. And he pays the workers. He's got to pay the workers, because if he doesn't, they won't show up anymore and the game is over. So to keep it going, he has to replace the tools and equipment, and he has to pay the workers. But he has to pay the workers, here we go, folks, less than the value added by the workers when they work. Or to use the technical term economists like, he has to rip the workers off. He has to steal from them part of what their labor added. You know what the lesson here is? For those of you who imagined that when you graduate from here, you will get a job. In fact, the only job you will accept is one that pays you what you're worth. Never gonna happen.
Never.
The condition of your employment is that you produce more by your labor than you get paid.
Now, as we're born into this world, this is the reality that we fall into. And then we believe like we're gonna make what we're worth, what we're value. Under capitalism, you never get what you're worth. You never get what you're valued. That's not how capitalism works. The capitalists must make a profit. And the only way they make a profit is by stealing from you.
Welcome to the capitalist system. That's how it works. This thing, surplus, that's profits. That's where the profits of enterprise come from. The best way to describe your work in a capitalist enterprise is not that the employer gives you a job, it's that you give your employer the surplus. The giver and the getter are in reverse order from what the language suggests. You are doing wonderful things for your employer, and they will keep you in that job exactly as long as you can keep producing a surplus adequate to what they need. Okay? That's step one. Volume 1 of Capital lays all that out. And for those of you who have never seen this before,
You said Volume 1 of Capital. That's Marx's book. Volume 1 of Capital lays all of this out. So if you said, I want to go read Marx, I want to know what Marx was talking about. He just told you what the book is about. When you go read it, this is what you're going to learn about the surplus, about who gets what. He's going to go on to explain what happens when the workers get upset and they're like, nah, man, yo, we want more money because we worked all these hours. We put in this work. We don't see our children. We're not home. All we do is work, work, work. Yo, we need a bigger piece of the pie. He's gonna go on to explain how the capitalists pick up the phone, they call the police, and the police come over there and beat those people upside the head with bats, throw them inside the car, and drive them away. This is how the capitalist system works. That's what Richard Wolff, the lecturer from Harvard, from all these places, from all this supposed to be whatever. But this is what he's telling you. Not what Africa's saying. This is what he's saying. To be free from vampire capitalism requires that at some phase of social revolution, the vampire must be denied the blood of the people to suck. Remember I told you we walk away from the institutions? We're denying them our blood. Here's how we define social revolution. The total breakup, remember revolution, I told you it was a change, something new coming. He said, here's how we define social revolution. The total breakup of the existing system of wage slavery. Because we're not in bondage slavery now. We're in wage slavery now. The political and economic structure of monopoly capitalism has no redeeming values worthy of preservation. No part of it can be used in the new school order we are striving to build. We can just get rid of every vestige of it overnight. We can't, my bad. We can't just get rid of it overnight. Even after the monopoly capitalists are overthrown, aspect of the social organization of capitalism will linger on for quite a while, and we will have to struggle resolutely and consciously to root them out and replace them with new socialist relations. We're reading the Red Book, this book right here. We're reading the Red Book in our what you call it? I got the what you call it background, so you can't even see the book. But in our podcast that we do on Saturdays. We all power to the people show, whatever. We're reading the Red Book, and in the Red Book, he's saying the same thing in the Red Book. He's saying we're at constant war. After you defeat the corporations, the capitalists, and all these people, they're still gonna come at you. You have to stay vigilant, and you have to keep educating that institutional memory we was talking about with the institution. You have to keep these things in the community, in the society. If you don't, the communists will come right back. I mean, the capitalists will come right back and take over. Yo, that's what Chairman Mao was saying. Chairman Mao was saying that in the 50s and 60s. And since he's been gone, since he died, we're in 2025. The capitalists now control China. China is not a communist nation. It is ran by capitalists. Why? Because they didn't listen to Chairman Mao. They didn't stay vigilant. They broke. And now the whole China is ran by capitalists. We can't stop halfway. The law that protects capitalist existence has lost its ability to be fair and impartial, and so it must face the trash heap with its maker. We can't hate white supremacist oppression, but love its natural outgrowth, i.e. capitalism, which was born from the stolen resources and labor of the people of undeveloped nations. Capitalist law was instituted and put in place to repress ethnic and national oppressed groups and to protect capitalist property relations. And since 95% of property is in the hands of a few families in America, the law basically protects and serves 5%. Remember I said what you call it, 5%? That's crazy. 5% of the people who make up the ruling class. New laws and a new constitution will have to be written and amended as we move forward. Laws that reflect and protect the new socialist relations. serve the growth of people's power, and prevent a return to the old ways of exploitation and injustice. And as this is being written, the vampire ruling class is going through an international fight over economic markets and resources that were divided between individual white nations for imperialist exploitation. Yo, you thinking about Ukraine? They beefing with Russia. They having all the Middle East. All this, they having all this beef. They got the new economics block now. It's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Even in America, like the Republicans, Democrats, this two rich classes of people, they're fighting amongst each other. Yo, everybody complaining about Trump winning, Trump this, Trump that. Hey, yo, Trump is so ignorant, he's exposing the whole game. He's exposing the whole game. You see, that's why revolutionaries will be like, yo, we don't care. Let Trump go in there. Because Trump is not as what? He's not as sophisticated as the Obamas, as the Clintons. Trump is a savage. He just gonna say what he thinking instead of understanding to shut up, to not give up the game. He gonna give up the game. So what he doing now? He exposing how they've been going around to all these countries talking about they're there for democracy, but they're actually there to overthrow the countries. He's showing $500 billion that they've been stealing all this time. But what he doesn't understand, what he's doing is making people lose confidence in the system. And that's the most dangerous thing you can do. Because once people don't believe in those institutions and they walk away from them, the whole game is over. No longer do various white nations claim individual underdeveloped nations as their exclusive domain to exploit as colonies. But that has not changed the drive and zest of former colonizers to impose privatization schemes micromanaged by the World Bank and International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the scramble to control these is sharp. Yo, China's in Africa now doing their thing. China's in Africa, they're going over there recolonizing the whole continent. Neocolonialism is the continuation, or neocolonialism is a continuation or reimposition of imperialist rule by a state. So we in Newark, New Jersey. See, colonialism is like when you go to a different land and you go there and you basically control everything that they're doing there. You control their politics, you control their politicians, you control their corporations. You see, that's colonialism. Neocolonialism is when you right here in Newark and they're doing it to you right here in Newark. Right here, whatever town you in, wherever you're at, Chicago, California, Florida, they brought that colonialism right here. They own everything. We own nothing. We have no power, no control of nothing. So what they did across seas a couple of 100 years ago, they brought it back right here. And in all our communities. What do you think gentrification is? When they come in, like illegally double people rents, throw people out their homes, have fake courts, fake judges, that when you go there, they cut a deal and they make you homeless. You take the deal because you don't want to pay 10, 20, 30,000 to some building owner because they illegally doubled your rent. So you go in there, the judge be like, hey, yo, when you come, all you got to do is just leave within 60 days, 3 months, and everything is forgotten. So you just leave. I mean, because you don't want to deal with owing nobody 50, 60, 80, 100,000. But after you leave, you homeless now. You got to go find somewhere to stay. Neocolonialism takes form of economic imperialism, globalization, cultural imperialism, and conditional aid to influence or control a developing country instead of the previous colonial methods of direct military control or indirect political control. They're talking about how they be paying the politicians, how the wealthy people pay the politicians. They give them campaign funding. They give them all this bread for them to pass policies and laws that enable them to take our homes. So they don't pay us enough. A single mother with one child, to survive, to be able to pay their bills and survive, they need to make $40 an hour. $40 an hour. One person, one single household, I think with 2 kids. You need to make $40 an hour. In New Jersey, what is it, $15 an hour? That's the minimum wage now. You can't even be poverty making $15 an hour. That's why people are struggling. So you thinking it's you. I got to do that. I got to go get another job. Yo, I got to become a rapper. I got to do all of this stuff. When there are people sitting back, I mean, constructing ways to steal your bread. Neoliberal is the term used. Neoliberalism is a term used to signify the political reappearance of the 19th century ideas associated with free market capitalism. I think I got that mixed up. I think I say neocolonialism. Yeah, I'm bugging. Yo, but it's been a long day. We just got back from the from the after school program. But anyway, associated with free market capitalism, a prominent factor in the rise of conservative and libertarian organizations, political parties, and think tanks, and predominantly advocated by them. It is generally associated with policies of economic liberalization, including privatization. That's what he's talking about, the corporations. I mean, paying the politicians to privatize everything. I remember Cory Booker tried to privatize the water when he was here. I mean, it was a big thing when he was here. Like, it was a brawl at City Hall. Deregulation, deregulation, globalization, deregulation. In East Palestine, there was a there was a train that derailed, and all this toxic stuff, toxic plume, all that stuff, all this toxic stuff went in, huh?
Well, East Palestine, Ohio, so people don't get confused.
Yeah, my bad. East Palestine, Ohio. There was a train derailment, and all this stuff went out into the atmosphere. It gave people cancers. I'm talking about right now. This ain't something old. It happened like 2 years ago under Biden, whatever. But the reason why it happened, because they cut regulations. Deregulation. That means they cut it. The regulations was here, they put the D in front of it to cut it. And they cut the regulations and things like the train, all the different things. Like they had the water in Flint. They had good water. I mean, they had they put the D in front of the regulation. They took their pipes and they put it into the water that was poisoned and stuff. Because they had the regulations on the book. You can't do that. You can't take the pipes and go put it in the water that's not been treated, that we don't know what's in the water. You can't do that. But these politicians allowed these corporations to bribe them. And then they went and took the pipes and put it in that water, and all those people in Flint started getting the poison water. That's what they explain it to you right here with neoliberalism. Globalization, free trade, monetarism, austerity. Austerity is like when everybody catching hell. Instead of making the people that's been stealing all our money pay more, they tax us. You know, like in New York, when they say for you to drive into to Manhattan, you got a special tax now. You got to pay the tax. That's austerity. When we go to the store to go buy food, they take the prices up. All of that is austerity. That's what they're doing to us in real time. And reduction in government spending in order to increase the role of the private sector in the economy and society. The defining features of neoliberalism is both taught and practice have been the subject of substantial scholarly debate. Not really. I ain't no debate. The International Monetary Fund, World Bank, and other banking and financial lending institutions have come up with a slick way of reimposing control over undeveloped nations by neo-colonial rule that consists of economic exploitation, economic aid, puppet government, and military assistance. Though the U.S. ruling class has emerged as a victor in this international fight, monopoly capitalists from all over Europe, Japan, and elsewhere are moving their capital overseas to markets with cheap labor. Remember I just told you China and Africa, and no labor laws, so they can make a huge profit on their investment, following the law of the maximization of rate of profit. We must oppose this by international solidarity and struggle, sowing the seeds of the world's socialist revolution. And we must remember what V.R. Lenin said 100 years ago. What V.R. Lenin say? There can be no equality between the exploiters. There's no equality. Who for many generations have stood out because of their education, conditions of wealthy life, and habits, and the exploited, the majority of whom, even in the most advanced and most democratic bourgeois republics, are downtrodden, backward, ignorant, intimidated, and disunited. That's us, the richest country in the world. the richest country in the world, are downtrodden, backward, ignorant, intimidated, and disunited. Like, that's us. That's us. I mean, until we organize ourselves, we can't defeat these people. Black economics, let me see. On the King Jr. I've been to the mountaintop. What happened? Nothing? That's cool. Martin Luther King Jr. I've been to the mountaintop delivered. This is a video that we're supposed to watch. I don't know why it's not playing. Anyway, so-called leftist movement still haven't caught on to the statement from 100 years ago. That is a telltale sign of class collaborationism that our party will expose to the people. Go back again. So-called leftist movements still haven't caught on to that statement from 100 years ago. That is a telltale sign of class collaborationism that our party will expose. What do we mean by that? Al Sharpton, the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, Ras Baraka, and all these clowns telling people, hey, yo, don't shop at Target. Go to Costco's. Leave from one plantation to another plantation. And they're telling the people that's liberation. That's a fraud. And they're saying it right here. So-called leftists, because they're supposed to be leftists, movement still haven't caught on to that statement from 100 years ago. So if you don't know by now, leaving Target to go to Costco's, you just jerking wreck, yo, there's a problem there. There's a problem. We have to build our party beyond national boundaries. So we can't be like, yo, we just a party like, yo, it's only us right here in Newark. Nah, man, it's only black people. No, yo, everybody catching this hell. We are not the only ones. I know it, like, in our minds, we've been brainwashed, black, 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 black. Yo, but when you see the Spanish people coming here, yo, they're leaving their country because the politicians here in America are bombing their countries, killing their people. That's why they're coming here. Now, don't people come here, and you know what the politicians here do? They play those people against the people that's already here. So they give those people places for them to go stay. They give them hotels to go stay. So what you think the people that's homeless, that's losing their homes, how you think they're going to feel about that? So instead of those two people, the people coming together to work together to overthrow these imperialists, we go back and forth talking about, yo, come get them, ICE, come get these people. Come, as if ICE come get them, the minimum wage is going to go up. Eggs going to become cheaper. Gas going to become cheaper. None of that is going to change if ICE dragged all these people out. And ICE ain't going to do it. You know why they're not going to do it? Because those corporations that fund the politicians need these people to come in to work at those jobs. So they have us fighting each other while they're carrying the bag and running. In this way, we can help to unify the political consciousness of our people and coordinate our struggle against imperialist neo-colonial exploitation and racial discrimination of oppression. That's what they say. They say we can work together if we start to understand that the same people are oppressing us from wherever, from here to Nigeria, wherever. So long as we are oppressed and discriminated against as black people, there will be a need for a new African Black Panther Party and for Pantherism. Together with our oppressed brothers and sisters of all ethnic and national background, we must rise as a mighty storm of struggle to sweep away imperialism and all oppression. Whoa, that was sick, man. I think that's it, yo. I think we finished with this week, yo. Word up. Next week assignment, be prepared, review material, First Rainbow Coalition. We're going to put this in the group chat, and I'm going to get this out to everybody. So, like, try to check this video out. The First Rainbow Coalition documentary, Huey P. Newton Speaks, and the Black Journal. I'm going to get all this stuff out to everybody that's in the class that we working with. I'm going to get you this information so you can review it before next Wednesday. Word up. But look, we try, man. We know everybody work. We know everybody got a job. They got children. We're not trying to keep everybody here all day. I mean, let me see if we had any questions in the beginning so we could go over the questions real quick. But we done. That's the class. That's what we talked about. We talked about what comrade is. What is a comrade? What is a brother? What are institutions? Yo, these are all the stuff that are going to be on the test. You have to know what an institution is if you want to be a Panther. The first dude of a revolutionary To understand our history, our political, trying to see. Now, I don't see nothing here. I don't see nothing, General Secretary. Nah, but we done, though. But if anybody has anything to say, yo, this is the first class. I mean, anybody has something to say, you could chime in. Going once.
All right, I got something to say. Let me see if I can. I can't see myself, so excuse the noise.
We could see you. We could see you. Go ahead.
Excuse the background noise, but yeah, like the captain said, this is the first week of our class.
Hey, hold on. Let's bring the beat back. Like who said?
I'm sorry, like the chairman said.
You owe me 50 push-ups.
This is the first week of our class. And he will not be the only one hosting these classes. A lot of other members of the group, comrades, will be participating as well. So please, welcome. Thank you for joining. Hope to see you next week. And until next time, all power to the people.
All power to the people. All power to the people. Yo, you want me to hit stop share? General Secretary. There, I don't see M meaning. I see stop share.
Oh, yeah.
Stop share.
Yeah, stop share.
Who killed her?
Probably the lady wait, is that the lady I spoke to today?
So where do I go now?
In meeting, where's it at?